Hey y'all, Becca here with Becca's Easy Recipes, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be making fresh homemade tortillas, and it only calls for 4 ingredients. We got flour, all-purpose flour, baking powder, salt, and whatever kind of grease or lard that you have. If you don't have any of those, you can use oil. Today, all I have is bacon grease, bacon fat, whatever you want to call it. That's what I'm going to use. So let's get started. I'm going to do it the easy way. I got a KitchenAid here that I'm going to put all the ingredients in and let it do the work for me. Now I'm going to put 4 cups. This is a 2-cup measuring cup. So I'm going to put 2 of these of flour into my bowl here. There's 2. And there's 4. And you want to keep a little bit of flour out so when you get ready to roll your tortillas, they don't stick. I'm going to use 1 teaspoon of salt. I like to measure it in my hand, just in the center of the palm. I'm just going to put 1 teaspoon of salt. See, about that much. And if you want to make a double batch, just double the ingredients. Next, I'm going to do 3 teaspoons of my baking powder. And it's important to get the exact measurement on baking powder. You don't want to add too much and you don't want to add too little, because they could end up being like crackers and dry out really fast. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to use 3 tablespoons of bacon grease. I normally use just regular like Crisco or something, but I ran out. So I'm going to do 3 tablespoons. And this recipe should make about 12 tortillas. It just depends on how big you make your balls. Okay, that is all the ingredients. I got to add one more ingredient, which is going to be water. And you want to use hot water because it helps to soften the grease and mix it all well together. Now I'm going to put my hook on to my KitchenAid. So this one works really well for mixing dough. When you're adding your hot water, if you're mixing it in the KitchenAid, you can get it as hot as you want to. If you're mixing it by hand, you can get it as hot as you can stand it. Just as long as it's warm water. And when you pour the water in, the amount depends on the consistency of the dough. So I'm going to go ahead and start my mixer. Lock it down. I'm going to mix it on low to kind of incorporate the ingredients together. And once I think it's incorporated enough, I'm going to start adding my hot water. And you want your dough to be a kind of smooth consistency. You don't want it to be real sticky. If it's too sticky, add a little more flour. I'm not going to add all my water at one time. I'm going to do it gradually. I'm going to speed up my mixer a little bit. Maybe not that fast, because if you see it started shooting out flour, sometimes you get in a hurry. Just let your ingredients mix up on their own. Sorry guys, I got a frog in my throat. I don't know if you can see, but the dough's starting to combine together. Add a little more water. And when it starts pulling away from the bowl, then you're probably ready. Now once it's mixed well, you can let it sit for like 10 minutes and let it rest. If you don't have that kind of time, it doesn't hurt to go ahead and start making your masa balls. You hear it bogging down? It's because all the dough's starting to come together. Got a little bit more water. Like I said, if you add too much water, you can just add a little bit of flour until it's not sticky anymore. I may have to add some flour because it looks a little bit wet. Okay, I'm going to lift it up, take my hook off, set it aside, and I'm going to pull my dough out and add a little bit more flour to it because it's a little bit wet. Okay, now I'm going to put a little bit of flour on my cutting board. As you can see, my countertop is tile, so it's not the best surface to roll my tortillas out on. So you just get some flour, put it on here, pull your dough out. You want to put some flour on your hands. Oh, forgot to take my ring off. Okay. I'm going to add a little flour to the top of my dough. I'm going to kind of knead it up a little bit. You start smashing it. And guys, you're probably going to get flour everywhere when you start making it. So it's probably good to wear an apron or something so you don't get your clothes all dirty. Because trust and believe, if you're wearing black or something, it's going to look like you got in a fight with a flour bucket. And guys, if you want, you can make your dough ahead of time. Make your balls ahead of time. And you can wrap them up individually and put them in the freezer, and they'll last in there a couple of months. And it's way better than having to buy the store-bought tortillas that have all the preservatives and stuff. I don't like those. You could taste the preservatives in them. And it don't taste good to me. I don't know, can you see how it's smooth? You know, it's not sticky. That's how you want it. And you can knead it as long as you want to, but you want to make sure it's kneaded good, and that's why I put them in the KitchenAid, because it helps me with that and my arms don't get tired. So I don't have time to let mine set for a few minutes, so I'm gonna go ahead and start making my balls, and I'm gonna get them in between my index finger and my thumb. I'm gonna pinch it out just like so, and you got a perfect little ball that fits in the palm of your hand. Now I always knead them a little bit, just a little bit in my hand, kind of shape it into a disc and set it aside, and I continue to do that until I run out of dough. And guys, this dough is so easy. It takes like no time to make it at all. And this, it doesn't have to rise or anything. You can just make it and start making your tortillas, and they'll be done real quick. But one thing we gotta do is get our comal, which is a flat skillet, flat cast iron skillet, and you want to turn it on and let it be preheating, because those take a minute to get hot. This should make about 12 tortillas. It just depends on how big you make your balls, like I said. You can make them smaller and make more of them, or you can make them bigger. Just depends on the size of your family. And guys, these don't have to be rolled out perfectly. I mean, I've had shapes of Texas, I've had heart shapes. You know, practice makes better. Always remember that, because nobody's perfect. Sorry guys, I don't know if you heard that music or not, but that was my washer getting done with a load of laundry. And see, and putting bacon grease in this just adds it a little extra flavor. And guys, don't worry about it. If they look ugly, it don't matter. They still taste the same. They still eat the same. So these made exactly 12 balls of tortillas. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to pile them up so I can have room to roll them out. I'm going to put some flour here, just to help it along. I got my trusty rolling pin here. Add a little flour to it. Ain't got to be much. And just start rolling them out. If they stick to your rolling pin, just dip them in some flour or add a little flour to your pin. And guys, take your time. It takes a long time to learn how to get these into a perfect circle. I've been making them since I was 17 years old. The youngest in my family to make them, and even still sometimes they ain't perfect. Everybody's got their own way of rolling them. And these guys go great with carne asada, tacos, just with some butter on them. That's how we did it in the old days. Some beans and rice. Shoot. You can make enchiladas with them. The ideas are endless. Now you see? You see how I made that? It's not a perfect circle, but it's almost there. Guys, you see how it's starting to brown on this side? I just flipped it over. And I want to let you know, if you don't have any Crisco or any lard of any type, you can use oil, like vegetable oil or something, but I would add an extra tablespoon just so that it doesn't dry out and it has the same amount of grease that it needs. But that's it. Just flour, baking powder, salt, and hot water. And these, you know, it takes longer to make them than it does to eat them because they go quick. And if you're like in my family, you can't make them fast enough. And if you're afraid to touch this because this is very hot, you can use a spatula or you can use tongs, you know, of course after it's cooked a little bit. Otherwise the tongs will tear your tortilla. And you can make them as thick or as thin as you want to. If you make them a little thicker, just cook them a little bit longer. But I'll tell you what, these are delicious. You put some butter on there, some bean juice, shoot. I think this one's done. I'm gonna go ahead and finish making the rest of them, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I'm on the last tortilla. I'll have to cook a little more on that side, but this didn't take long at all. And you can do quesadillas with this. Look, see how much it's smoking? Yeah, you gotta stay with it, otherwise you're gonna burn it. And these do burn quick. I'm gonna go ahead and turn my comal off. Like I said, it's very hot, so you don't have to use your fingers if you got your nails done just recently, because you'll burn them on this comal here. So you just throw them in your bowl or whatever tortilla container you got. See? And you just cover them up, and the heat from these tortillas will keep them soft and warm. Oh, you know what? Yeah. Okay. Okay, now let's taste test one. You see how soft it is? You can't beat a fresh tortilla. No. You can do anything with them. Anything. You can even make desserts with them. You can put some peanut butter and some chocolate and marshmallow and make you some little s'more roll-ups, or, you know, put you some cream cheese and some kind of strawberries or cherries or whatever, and do you some little cream cheese desserts. Man, it's delicious. Well guys, that's it for me right now. If you like this video, give me a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. If you have, I appreciate you. And stay tuned for my next video. I'm gonna do it today also, because you can't have tortillas and have no dinner with it. So stay tuned. I love you guys. Remember, you're smart, you're beautiful, and you're everything that God made you to be. And don't let anybody tell you any different. And when you're doing tortillas, practice makes better. Don't get discouraged if you're rolling them out and it looks like Florida, okay? Or Italy, you know. It all tears and eats the same. So, you do you, baby girl, son, whoever's making them. And your kids can help you make them too. How else are they gonna learn? Love ya.